All right, so what we're going to be looking at here is Tomi Lahren. She went on Fox and Friends again. She does this very often. She is someone who I believe appears like every week, basically. And she's also going to mention later on while she's on there, she's going to talk about this new Fox Nation thing. It's kind of weird. I don't really know. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But she's going to be asked about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because you guys recall Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually, went and attended a sit-in protest in Nancy Pelosi's office in which they were demanding what they called a Green New Deal. And I was honestly, I was like, wow, that's really awesome. And again, it goes to show you the influence that is had now by progressive Democrats in Congress. But Tomi Lahren's going to respond as to what she thinks on it, and she's going to give some unbelievably hilarious thoughts here on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The irony is not going to be held back. It is going to be in full front.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez spent her first day protesting outside Nancy Pelosi's office, joining protesters that were upset against climate change, not in the building, but I imagine on Earth, outside the building. Here she is on why she chose to protest a Democratic leader as a Democrat.
This is an encouragement of her, and this is to show that we're here to back up bold action, and that that she will be supported in that.
Tommy, is this a good move? Is this a move to show that Nancy Pelosi, this is not going to be a layup as you try to ascend to Speaker again?
Well, I call Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez the gift that keeps on giving, because we look at her on the Republican side and we think that she's a joke and that she's a mess and largely uneducated on basic economic policy. But for us, I think it's even better to look at her as someone that's a tool for us, because she's going to be a thorn in the side of most Democrats. Nancy Pelosi certainly is not going to like this young person coming in. But either way, when you look at the Democratic Party, you've got the new radicals and the old radicals. Either way, they don't represent most Americans. And I think that's going to be a huge problem come 2020.
Well, Michelle Obama, she has done some interviews recently. She had one with Robin Roberts over the weekend, and she has come out with this book. And in that interview, she said that it was hard to find a smile during the inauguration. And she has also said that Melania Trump, our First Lady, has not asked for any of her help, or hasn't asked for help. And then Stephanie Grisham released a statement, and who is the president's the First Lady's communications director. And she said the reason she hasn't asked for help is she hasn't needed any of her advice. She says Mrs. Trump is a strong and independent woman who has been navigating her role as First Lady in her own way. When she needs advice on any issue, she seeks it from her professional team within the White House. What do you think about that?
I'm confused as to why Michelle Obama finds it surprising that Melania wouldn't reach out for help. Hello, Michelle Obama spends a good portion of her books and her interviews bashing President Trump, bashing the administration, and she wonders why Melania wouldn't seek her help. Why would Melania want that help? Why would Melania want that negative energy? And furthermore, related to Michelle Obama's other comments about Donald Trump, about being unable to smile, that's okay. The American people were smiling on Donald Trump's inauguration. We were smiling when we watched her husband leave the White House. So we don't really need her smiles. I think we're doing just fine.
So are you, because you're smiling because it's finally here. Fox Nation will debut on the 27th, right after Thanksgiving. Tommy, that's a look at some of the people you'll be able to see. We'll probably recognize all of them. What can we expect from you?
Well, you're going to get my first and my final thoughts. But beyond that, I know we talked last week, Brian, that you still didn't have your picture on our big Fox Nation wall. And so I'm checking in to see if that's been corrected yet.
What, I see him on the
Wait, I made the wall.
Right-hand corner. He's up on the wall.
Tommy,
right now.
look at the power you have. I'm next to Ainsley.
Can we share the wall
in
again?
a photo shoot that actually took place in several locations. She's nudging me in the shoulder.
Apparently, I'm very strong. I just removed your tie and your coat.
Right.
Well, see, guys, there we go. I can't wait for lunch, and I'm excited to be a part of it with all of you. So make sure that everyone goes to foxnation.com, gets the updates, because we're so close to lunch, and we couldn't be more excited.
All right. Tommy, thank you very much for getting up early for us.
Go get him.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
to see you.
So again, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is so awesome. It's really crazy because Fox News is now in full throttle attack mode against AOC. And she just consistently just keeps smacking them down so bad. it's unbelievably hilarious. Like I just saw like a little clap back on Twitter that she sent out because the Fox News was calling it like crazy left wing, like far left wing agenda or something like that, and it's like it's like Medicare for all, free college, and she's like, oh, like the crazy agenda of helping poor people. It's really awesome, I have to say. And she also slammed a bunch of Fox News morons who had no clue what they were talking about on the whole rent issue that was going on, and who were trying to slight her for that. So, anyways, she says, and this is Tomi Lahren's consistent position on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's under the belief that basically AOC is someone who is a moron, and this is what our view of Tomi Lahren is. That's what the irony of all of this is, right? So as she sits there claiming that AOC is a moron, the irony is legitimately off the charts. I mean, if you ask Vegeta what the Scouter says about her irony level, it's literally going to be over 9,000 because it's so insane. And it's so unbelievably hilarious because, and if you recall, Tomi Lahren actually, she was someone who kind of did a half defense of AOC back when there was like all the conservatives were trying to do debates with her, which they all backed out of, by the way, with Politicon recently. She actually had said like, oh, like stop the debate offers, like this is stupid. But this is unbelievably hilarious. And the other thing that she says is she thinks that electorally speaking, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, quote, the gift that keeps on giving. That's her belief. So she's under this delusion that the agenda and what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does is not going to aid the Democrats. It's not going to further the Democrats electorally speaking, but rather it's going to help the GOP and the conservatives in the elections, which is so unbelievably ridiculous. It's hilarious because obviously those progressive ideals are, what was missing in 2016. And by the way, the House got swarmed by the Democrats. I mean, I feel like it's almost every day we hear about a new seat being taken, whether it be Dana losing, Sinema, who sucks, winning, and there was just another one today. There are a lot of wins being taken over. But anyways, the point here being is that in 2016, I mean, the biggest issue was Hillary Clinton didn't really take a stand on anything, and she was very weak and didn't appeal to anybody. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the antidote to that because she takes a strong stance on the issues of Medicare for all, free college education. And again, argumentation is important. We would save $2 trillion over 10 years if we were to switch to a Medicare for all system, and we would cover every person in the United States. Now, on top of that, the free college education is such an easy thing to do, considering the scope of the budget, and if you consider the budget in its numbers. We recently did, not too long ago, a military budget increase of $700 billion over 10 years, which equals $70 billion every year, of course, for that 10-year span. And the truth is if you were to have just diverted those funds from our already bloated military budget, that would, on its own, that would fund free college education for every single year. Or you can put in place a 1% Wall Street speculation tax. So you actually have two options here. But free college education is a total no-brainer. And I don't understand why there is an opposition in any way to an investment in our own people, in the American people. It doesn't make sense because if you make college free, it's going to increase consumer spending. You're going to get people out of massive debt. Which is honestly the closest thing we could probably see, unless we consider wages remaining stagnant and housing prices bubbling up to the bubble. They're at bubble level now, by the way, guys. They are literally at bubble level right now, and wages are remaining stagnant. But anyways, I believe it was the student loan debt that just went over $1 trillion. So that could even possibly be like the next big crash, although I don't really know how that would exactly happen because you can't even default on your student loans, which is again insanity. But could you imagine not only how much the economy would improve because now more people are going to be able to pay more taxes because their incomes are higher and consumer spending would be increased, But just generally speaking, like that's a no-brainer thing. It's almost like an infrastructure issue where it's like, okay, like you're investing in your own people and you're boosting the economy. I don't understand how there's even a debate about free college because the numbers are so simple and small. I mean, again, it's something like, I believe, like 60 billion a year. So it could be easily funded by averting these constant military budget increases that we keep on doing, or you just put in a 1% Wall Street speculation tax, which will affect the top 1% because they're the ones who have disproportionate amount of money in the stock market. Anyway, so the point here being is that Ocasio-Cortez is a gift for us, not for you, Tommy. And Tommy, you're the moron, not her. And then they segue into Michelle Obama. Like, dude, Michelle Obama was calling him out for totally reasonable things, calling Trump out for totally reasonable things. She literally said she could never forgive him for the birtherism thing. How could you argue against that? That's one of the worst theories ever. One of the, most disgusting ones ever, by the way. Horrible things. Birtherism was horrible. This idea that he's not American. Like, what a low blow to make in the first place. But the point here being that I can't believe how stupid you are. And then they segue into the whole Fox Nation thing. I still don't know what the hell that is. Maybe someone can tell me about this. But remember, the last time we talked about, I don't know if that was the last time we talked about Tommy or not, but it was one of the recent times. And she was doing like the Fox Nation intro or something like that. And it looked like a WWE match or something. Or I don't even know what else that would be. But basically, she would just say stuff and the crowd would just clap and clap and clap on cues. And it's like, dude, what am I watching? Am I watching a game show? Am I watching a WWE match? What on God's green earth am I watching right now? And I don't know what it is, but it's really going to be hilarious. But again, just to remind you guys, Tomi Lahren is tier 1 grade A moron.